All right, section 3. What should you include in your core curriculum? There are two different maybe philosophies or breakdowns that I'll show you here about how you might consider creating your core curriculum or structuring your core curriculum content. The first one here is shown with, they each have 7 different parts. These are not set in stone. If you feel like these or the other, is there part 1 or part 2 don't really match, you can feel free to noodle on them and tweak them to fit what works for you. But I often find these are helpful frames to think through. Oh, what should be in that section? What should be in this section? What do people need to know about that thing? To really dive into or make sure that you pick up all the different aspects that are helpful for someone in their role and that someone new in an organization would want to know about. So in this part 1, in this first offering, here are the seven containers. The first, company culture and values. Number 2, policies and procedures. 3, job-specific training. 4, professional development. 5, diversity, equity, inclusion. I would think broadly about this, so I would include anti-racism, anti-oppression, justice, however your organization defines this work for you. 6, team building and collaboration. And 7, performance management. Some of the things to consider under the bucket of culture and values: introduction to the company's mission, vision, and values, overview of the company's history and evolution, understanding of the company's culture and how to contribute to it. Under bucket 2, policies and procedures, an overview of the company policies and procedures such as time off, dress code, expense policies, health and safety policies and procedures, information security and privacy policies and procedures. Under the third bucket, job-specific training, introduction to job roles and responsibilities, essential job-related skills, knowledge, and tools required for the role, and training on company-specific tools and systems. This is one of those buckets, too, where it might not be in the general core curriculum. It maybe if you consider, 100 courses, 200 courses, advancing in the knowledge that you need when you need it. This might be a 200 level course, or a specific to the various roles. And so, but really think about all right, what does this role need to know? What applications does it use? Who does it work with? What's the history of the role? What's the history of the department in which they're working in? So that would be bucket 3 under this sort of part 1 construct. Bucket 4 is professional development, skills training that can benefit employees in their current and future roles, opportunities for continuous learning and development, mentoring and coaching opportunities. What do these look like? Do they have an allowance for professional development? How often do they happen? Do they have company-directed development, or do they have staff sort of directed? The 5th bucket, again, is that diversity, equity, inclusion, anti-racism, anti-oppression, justice, however your organization defines this, understanding bias and discrimination and how to promote a culture of diversity and inclusion, promoting respect and appreciation for differences in the workplace, practical strategies for creating an inclusive work environment. This can also be picking up if your organization has been doing work in anti-racism or anti-oppression and had a outside facilitator come in and work with your organization over the years. What does each new employee need to know in order to sort of understand what the organization has already been through, so they can join you at that point in the journey and they don't need to go back to maybe 2 years before in those other sessions. So thinking about how do you sort of talk about what the journey has been that your organization has been on, what it's done, and where it is currently, so that it can move from there. So that we're not move from there, but so new employees can join at that point. 6th bucket here is team building, introduction to the company's organizational structure, key stakeholders, building effective communication and collaboration skills. So who are you working with? How are you working with them? Team building and problem-solving strategies. This can also be if you're using frameworks like RACI or Darcy or something like that. How are you engaging in that work? And 7th bucket here is performance management. setting expectations and goals for employees, providing feedback and coaching to improve performance, measuring and evaluating performance. Does your organization have annual performance assessments, quarterly self-assessments? What does that look like? How frequently does that happen, so that people can understand how they're plugging into that larger system? This is also one of those things where when you think about the core curriculum, how is that core curriculum then moving into a performance management structure or a self-assessment structure, and then explaining that to people so they know sort of where they are on that arc or journey.